Okay, whether you're a grandparent raising your grandkids or just a first-time grandparent, the journey can be challenging, to say the least. Here to give us some guidance to becoming the best grandparent is therapist Alicia Villa from the Center for Integrative Counseling and Psychology. Good morning. It's so good to have you here. I'm interested in what you're going to say here. I'm not a grandparent yet, but hope to be at some point. So, can you talk about why grandparenting is so beneficial to a child?
Absolutely. So we know that grandparents provide a crucial piece of the development of our children's emotional and well-being. And that's because grandparents provide unconditional love and support to our grandchildren. They also serve as a source of encouragement and resource and wisdom for navigating life's challenges and difficulties. Research even suggests that grandparents who have a close relationship with their grandchildren, the grandchildren are less likely to experience symptoms that are associated with depression and anxiety.
So I grew up, as many in my generation did, going to my grandparents' house every Sunday for Sunday dinner. It was a very meaningful part of my life and I think added a lot. What is in it for the grandparent?
Absolutely, great question. Yes, grandparents also benefit from this, both physically and mentally. Some of the physical areas that grandparents benefit is they are at lower risk for hypertension, lower risk for Alzheimer's, lower risk for, again, symptoms that are associated to depression and anxiety, and their life expectancy increases about 10 to 15 years. So grandparents benefit from it because they're participating in the activity and participating in all the things that kids require to keep grandparents sharp and young.
They have a purpose, which is so important in life.
Absolutely.
So there are a lot of grandparents these days that are not only serving the role of grandparents, but also at least part-time parents in some ways. Tips for those people?
Yes, absolutely. It takes a village to raise children. And so finding support groups and peer support, either within the community, whether they're the religious community, friends, family members, finding resources to have that support, and remembering to maintain and to take care of themselves. We can't take care of others unless our immediate needs are met. And so it's important to also keep an eye on themselves while they're providing care for others.
So let me ask you about this, because this is something that a lot of us face these days. Maybe our kids live in a different state. They may live in a different country. The world is a lot different from what it used to be. Tips for grandparents whose children and grandkids are long distance.
That's the beauty of technology. This is one of the positive upsides of technology. Technology has reduced that barrier of distance, whether there be across the state, across the country, and another country. And so being able to communicate with their grandchildren via a phone call or video, and then to sending letters or care packages are great ideas as well.
You're reminding me of a friend of mine whose kids call her with the grandkids all the time, and they just FaceTime, but the kids just sit there and don't say anything. They just sit there forever. My friend's finally like, okay, we've talked today, bye-bye. So what about when you have a blended family? That's another thing that's a lot more common. What do you see with grandparents who are trying to navigate that?
Yeah, so there are some challenges to that, and I think given any relationship, there are challenges. The idea is to embrace them as your own grandchildren and always following kids' leads. Kids will let us know what kind of relationship and what kind of conversations they want to have with us. So always defaulting to the children, and then also remembering what role we play in that, well, what role the grandparents play in that, and then allowing the children to assign what names or labels they want to give the grandparents.
Okay, one last little question. Not that I'm asking for myself or anything like that, but what if you think that you've gained a lot of wisdom in your years and you would like to have a little bit of a say-so in how the grandkids are raised?
Great
How do you navigate that?
Well, the key to any healthy relationship is effective communication. And effective communication is active listening, which is listening for the sake of listening and not to respond, understanding, and then also asking our adult children if they want feedback. I think that's the key, is being open and being curious about why they're choosing to parent the way that they are. So always being open about the conversation and opening dialogue.
Where do people find you if they want more info?
Absolutely. You can find us at thecentercounseling.org or through our social media platforms and Instagram and Facebook as The Center Counseling.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate the tips for all of us. Okay, a little bit.